What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to the series where I document each trade that I'm taking week to week and breaking it down for you guys, hoping you guys pick up as much game as possible. And as I mentioned in previous videos, yes, this is kind of a way for me to give back in a sense by showing you which trades I'm taking week to week. But this is also largely from me just for journaling purposes, so that way I can look back on my trades and see what I'm doing well and seeing what I'm doing, what I need improvement on. And then also another layer of it is me wanting, like, I do plan to teach eventually. So just by me getting my reps in now, being able to walk through and explain and break things down in an effective manner is something I'm really trying to get better at and master. Because it's one thing for me to sit there in front of my computer and trade by myself and break everything down in my mind, but being able to communicate that effectively to the point where another person is able to understand is a completely different thing. I've been trading for 7+ years now, and it's getting to that point where I do want to, like, just share the knowledge that's in my brain. Because I mean, what good is it if I'm just keeping it all to myself? Obviously, it's beneficial for me, but I definitely am moved and find passion and enjoyment in sharing with others and seeing other people win as well. Like, that's also a large part of what this is for. But as far as this week, this shouldn't be too long of a video at all. I know the other videos that I've dropped week to week are pretty long, but I only took one trade this week, and it was a winner. And so it is now currently February 1st. So to wrap up January, I finished profitable, especially with this trade, closing out with a 3.5 times risk to reward. But yeah, without further ado, let me dive right in so you guys can see. All right, boom. So the trade that I took this week was on AJ, AUDJPY. And mind you, this candlestick wasn't here because this is the current day that I took the trade on. I'm in replay mode. But usually, as you guys know, I always start off on the daily time frame. And the reason why we start off on a daily time frame is, for one, we want to have an overall understanding of the direction that the market is headed in. So, I mean, we can see here that price is extremely bullish, creating higher highs and higher lows. It's not really like there's no questions about it. Like, you can look at this and see that it's going up. It's not something that you have to put much thought to. And then secondly, you can also see that we have a level of support and resistance right here as well. So I mark off my level of support and resistance, my levels of support and resistance with a horizontal ray always. So you can see that here, higher high, higher low, higher high. Price came back to retest to create a higher low point at this level and retest this daily level of support and resistance. Now, as far as this daily time frame, there's not much data to the left for me to go based off of, only kind of current price action. And also, before I hop down to the 4-hour time frame, another thing to keep in mind is that obviously this big bullish candle wasn't here. This is the day that we traded on. But if we're looking, like, going into the day, if we look at this daily time frame and we look at the previous day candlestick, we can see a doji here. When you read price action and when you get to understand price action, you'll get to understand what certain candlesticks mean. And so the fact that we came back to retest a previous level of support and resistance and a previous level of structure and created a doji at that level, that shows that that level is currently being respected. So going into this day, I'm like, okay, let me hop down to my lower time frames to see how I can capitalize, or see if it may be time to take price up, because price is clearly being respected at this level. I just need to figure out how I can capitalize on this move for it to potentially trade up to create that higher high point based off of this higher time frame structure. So in order for me to see structure a little bit more in depth and to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty, I hop down to my 4-hour time frame, and you can see structure here a lot more clear. I usually draw it out for you guys, but it's pretty clear in this case. We have higher high, higher low, higher high, potential higher low. And obviously, and when we're trying to buy, we always want to buy low and sell high. So in this case, we're low and we want to potentially trade higher. So we want to potentially create this higher low point here in order to see price continue up. So also another thing, based off of this 4 hour time frame, what I usually do is I usually mark off my 4 hour levels of support and resistance. So based off of structure, when I drew it out, this was a higher low point. This is a higher high point. This is a higher low point, and this is a higher high point. So even though in this leg, this is the main higher high point, this is still a significant swing. So there's a difference between structure points and swing points. So this was the structure point right here, giving us this higher high point. And so that's why I marked it off here with this 4 hour level of support and resistance, because it is a significant level. But we can't ignore the fact that there is a major swing in the market here. And so that's why I drew this 4 hour level of support and resistance zone here as well. And it's also lines up with the daily horizontal red that I drew. And then also on this 4 hour time frame, we can see that there's a clear trend line. We have 0.1, 0.2, and then 0.3. So you always want to draw your trend lines, point A, point B, and then drag it out into the future. So me drawing this trend line and seeing that it was in confluence with this area, it was even more reason for me to believe that there was a potential that price could trade up from this point. And then the last confluence I had on this higher time frame was the fact that we created a double bottom. If you really understand your market patterns, a double bottom is a clear sign for buys. So I always mark off my double bottoms with these two ellipses. But that's pretty much it, all I saw based off of this 4 hour time frame. So now I'm going to hop down to my 1 hour time frame. And hopping down into this 1 hour time frame, it's now my job to try to figure out what structure is doing on this lower time frame. So I know overall that I want to buy, and so I just need to wait for this counter trend to be finished in order for me to hop in on buys. So within this 1 hour time frame, you can't really tell the downtrend, the minor time frame downtrend structure that's going on here. So in this case, I hop down to my 30-minute time frame, and this is where you can kind of start to see structure a little bit more in depth. It's not as clean because AJ can be choppy at times. I would say it's not really a beginner pair to understand, but if you have a true understanding and have some experience reading structures on pairs that aren't as easy to read, it's pretty simple. So it just takes time, that's all. So for me, I know that all I need in order for me to capitalize on buys and start to take this trade up to create that higher high point based off of the 4 hour time frame, all I need is an impulse, a correction, and a continuation based off of structure. So I would want to see this downtrend structure come to an end, and we can see it's starting to slow down and respect these two levels that I have here, these two zones based off of the higher time frame. But as soon as I saw price break above this level, this swing, mind you, this isn't necessarily structure based off of the lower time frame. This is mainly a swing point. So once I saw it break this swing in the market, that indicated to me that we wanted to continue up in the upwards direction. And then after this indication, we corrected back down into this 15-minute level of support and resistance. And then as soon as we came down to this 15 levels of support and resistance, that's when my eyes started to open as far as looking for my entry signal to take buys. And just another thing before I get into my entry, another form of confluence that we have on this lower time frame to take trades in a bullish direction is the fact that on the 5-minute time frame, we have multiple touches of this trend line. So we have 1 touch here, 2 touch here, 3 touch here, and then 4 touches here. So everything, I have multiple reasons as for me to hop in on buys at this particular area. So now when it came to my entry, the reason why I didn't initially enter when first came down here is because, for one, this is outside of my trading session. I know some people may kind of be wondering what's on the background. It's just like a sessions indicator. So green is London session, the orange is New York session, and then so on and so forth. But I only trade during London and New York. So, or maybe an hour before. So pre-market and the actual session. So for London, I'll start looking at the charts around 2 a.m. And then for New York, I start looking at the charts around 7 a.m. So at this point, when the market first came down to these levels, this was roughly around 11. This is like 11:50 at night. I'm not looking to actively trade until 2 a.m. So 2 a.m. I woke up, the market was here. And so what I anticipated happening was price coming down to create a double bottom, and then for me to continue to look to trade up again. So I ended up getting my entry based off of this 15-minute bullish engulfing candlestick, and I took it like for all the reasons that I mentioned before. I had a bunch of confluence in this area, and then the final confluence was this double bottom at this level. And if you understand like indication correction continuation or impulse correction continuation, however you want to say it, I understand that once price broke above this level, this swing that I was talking about earlier, that was the indication. So I know buyers are above this level and sellers are below this level. So once I saw price indicate to me above this level, I was good for buys. And then price came below again, and then it went above again, and then it came back down again to create this double bottom. And I felt confident in hitting the buy button at this 15-minute level, at this 15-minute bullish engulfing, because we were also trading above this indication level. So everything was pointed towards buys. I ended up putting my stop loss right here. So I had a 27 pip stop loss. And the reason why I put my stop loss right here is because based off of this minor time frame structure, let me draw it out for you guys. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, potential higher low point, because this is where I entered at. So this is the potential higher low point. The reason why I put my stop loss below this low was because I know that if price starts to trade below this level, then we would start to be bearish, because it would be a break of structure, and we would no longer be creating that lower time frame bullish trend in order for us to complete the higher time frame 4-hour trend. So I popped my entry there, and let me go to the 1 hour so I can show you guys the trade and let it play out. So was in drawdown for a little bit. Then after that, price shot up. Mind you, I entered this trade at, let me see what time I entered it. My charts are acting a little bit laggy. I entered this trade at 4:30 in the morning. And then price went on to hit all TPs. And I use this as my final TP because we have a 1 hour level of support and resistance there. That's why I ended up closing my trade. And then, yeah, that was a trade. So beautiful trade. Wasn't stressful at all, other than having to be up at 4:30 in the morning. But that was the trade. Beautiful trade. We'll see what we can get this week. I already marked up my charts for the weeks, and so we'll see if we can get something good. But yeah, that's it for this week. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you all next week.